Welcome welcome friends to the newest edition of Seahawkers What If, the most unique Seahawks preview show in the multiverse. I'm your host, Clinton Bonner, and I am joined by some great people. Hey, Brandon needs a day off every now and again. The guy's working so hard. In fact, we did a live flagship this week, which the counterpart, of course, is the Montana Seahawker himself, Mr. Adam Emmert. He's here for the first time ever on What If. Adam, how you doing, good buddy?
Hey, honor and a pleasure. I just want to congratulate you guys, and not Brandon since he's not here. Just like you guys, I think What If is our fastest growing show on the whole Seahawkers podcast platform. You guys are freaking crushing it over here. It is unique. It is fun. I think you guys are doing an awesome job, and the numbers are supporting it. It's cool that you would include me for once. That feels nice.
Yeah, we'll see if this can sustain now that we brought, we kind of got the dregs of the bottom of the ocean here with us. I kid. Mr. Phil.
No, we're crashing now.
Mr. Phil, What If is gaining in popularity. And you know why? Because people realize every single week you come up with a really cool theme. And this is a very unique way to preview a game. Got everybody, all the pundits, they kind of go over the same things. But you, Mr. Phil, you bring the creativity to Seahawkers What If. And for that, I say thank you. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Speaking of creativity, we have a Thursday night matchup. Ooh. And, I've been to the last two Seahawk home games against Santa Clara. And there's one really annoying thing that always happens. There's all this red, and you have to hear, "Let's go," something I'm not going to say. So you have to hear that. It irritates the fire out of my family, hearing that in our home stadium. But tonight's game is so important. And I will not say bang, bang, Niner gang. I guess I would, because it's just cheesy and hokey. So that's kind of funny to say. But we won't say let's go that. But our families decided this. As we need the Rams to lose to give us a great shot at winning the division. We are going to say, let's go Winers. Let's go Winers. And we feel just fine with that. I think you win both ways with that chant. So I hope all the Seahawk families tonight, as you watch the matchup, you can do that. If the show's even out to hear my advice it might not even be out till tomorrow. I don't know when the show's going to post. I'm just saying we're recording Thursday morning, cheering for the Winers tonight or cheering for the Lambs to lose.
1,000%. All the things are correct. This will go out probably Friday morning. So it'll probably go out before. So we'll wake up. However, with what I believe in waves, I believe in energies, my man. I do at my core. So I believe just putting it out into the universe. That's what matters, my man. We are all quantumly entangled one way or another. The Rams need to lose that game. So I won't say the other words either, but let's go. This is big for us. And then, of course, we've got one heck of a matchup coming up with a Green Bay Packer team, which, by the way, everybody and their grandma wants to coronate as they're going to waltz into the P&W and just win. Because why? Because they lost 4 close games to really good teams. I'm not sure I see it that way. I'm sure we'll talk about all that. Adam, we are marching to 5,000 subscribers out on YouTube. What do people need to be doing? This is the giving season. What should people be doing to help us get to that 5K before this year is over, man?
Well, I mean, we'd love their help to go and subscribe and stuff, but you just ignore it. You're asked too many things here in the holiday season. People are always asking everything from all the shoppers and all the listeners. We're not going to do that. We're not going to ask you to go down and subscribe if you like the show, if you enjoy the content, if this brings value to your life. Why would we do that? You're bombarded with too much stuff anyway. So ignore the subscribe button. That like button's stupid anyways. Who likes the like button? Just go with that. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I love it, Mr. Phil. The reverse the reverse psychology here from Adam. I love it, and maybe that's a way for us to parlay into. Look, you're going to bring up a previously with the Protector, which is part of What If, where you tell the audience you went back and watched Packers versus Lions. You saw the Honolulu flu infecting those Packers, and you're going to dissect for us what did you see from the Pack just last week, and what can we expect as we head into it is a crucial and fun and action green oriented Sunday night matchup in prime time. Mr. Phil, take it away, my man.
All right, as we bring it up on the screen, I watched the Packers go play the Lions. Very fun game to watch. Quality football. They're pretty decent on defense. They're not awesome. In fact, they have one thing in common with teams we've done well against. They're 29th in pressure rate, and so they're not great at getting after the quarterback, but they're 11th by DVOA overall. That factors an opponent. Their line was pretty much owned early on in both parts of the game, but then they started deploying a loaded box to slow the run game. They started blitzing a lot more to get some penetration, whether it was a run blitz or against the pass. They gave up the edge in the run game. I think they were trying to really stop the middle the best they could. Their coverage wasn't atrocious, but it sure wasn't to be complimented either. If Goff made a good or great pass, he could complete them. They were good enough to stop poor passes, but not great passes. So if Geno's on point, I think we can have some joy in the pass game as well. Their offense is pretty much awesome, especially with the run game. They're third by DVOA. They really love play action. Makes a lot of sense when you think about Jacobs, number 8, who scares the living fire out of me. We've seen him destroy us before. He looks just as good or ever with this great team. But our defense is playing good. So I'm excited to see what might happen there. Love will hold the ball a little much, but he may run. He's also pretty good at moving around in the pocket, and of course he has a fantastic arm talent to put the ball where he wants to. Didn't even have to throw it a lot, but he was effective a lot of the times when he did. They've had 6 straight games with practically 100 yards. I think it's like 8 of 9 where they've had at least 99 yards in the run game. Not Jacobs himself, but he's the massive part of it. The pass protection wasn't perfect, but in play action they were pretty fantastic. Very, very run heavy on early downs. We've all seen some of the visuals. Nobody runs the ball more on early downs than the Packers. You could see it in this game. Any other thoughts about this game against the Lions? Could have gone either way.
No, you kind of nailed everything that I think that is notable when it comes to the Packers, and just kind of a basic overview of how they play. You had mentioned Jacobs beating us before, and really after doing the live flagship, I was just sitting there lying in bed, and I kept having these visions of Josh Jacobs in a Raider uniform running all over us and beating us single-handedly, seemingly, a couple of years back there on a putrid Raiders team. Knowing that he's coming in with some help and his friends here from Green Bay, you said scares the living fire out of you? Yeah, I mean, Jacobs really does. This is going to be such a fantastic test for this run defense that we've seen just make the leap for about 4 or 5 games here. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, for sure. And then Phil, just one thing I want to add too is of the whole digest there. I think that's a great rundown. I had a awesome time. 2 of my best friends from like college and then high school, Johnny Parmesan, who I've mentioned on the pod probably 1,000 times. My other buddy Chappie, they're huge Packers fans. So I gave him a call yesterday. A lot of the stuff you hit on was what they were saying as well from their purview as like legitimate Packers fans for like 30 plus years who watch a lot of football and really love the sport. One thing that they said too that wasn't on the board is like, hey, often the Packers will start slow. So, you know, Adam, I know you've been talking like, hey, what's a fast start? Is this a fast start? Does this qualify as a fast start? Are we in the red deep green zone? And yet the Packers have actually been a bit of a slow boil. You know, if you look at the game, the one thing you didn't cover is that the Lions had them on the ropes early, but then they didn't stop running the ball. Like down 13-0, whatever it was still like, well, Jacobs we'll just block.
Wait, but the game wasn't going their way. How did they get to their stuff?
Exactly. That's what I wanted to bring it up. Like they were committed even when they were down an early hole, and they do have a tendency to get down, which is interesting. So we'll see how it all plays out. But this means we are ready for Mr. Phil to give us this beautiful curated theme every single week on What If. It's a brand new theme. I'm telling you folks, it's the only show out there like this for the preview. So Mr. Phil, I'm sure you went deep into your bag of tricks there. What is our theme for this week? Packers versus Seahawks, week 15, Sunday Night Football at Lumen
Field. And if you're watching the screen, I got hasty and bumped the trigger finger. So the theme's already given away on the screen there, but I hope you love it. We have love on our team. We have love on their team. And I love this theme because it's special to our show, because Mr. Clinton likes to mix up these two guys quite regularly. He's done it for 2 seasons now. Yeah. We have our man, Julian Love, looking to stop their man, Jordan Love. They're going to be facing off directly. The main guy's eyes that one another are concerned with is the love in the other eyes in a man named Love. And so loving eyes coming from both sides, free safety versus quarterback. There is a whole lot of love in this matchup. Clinton will go first on what's behind these. We have All You Need Is Love. We have Love Triangle, Love Hurts, Love Connection, the Love Boat. Even before as old as we are, that was before our time, I think, kind of. And what is love? Clinton, where are we going to go first?
Well, first, I'm always going to commend you on great job on the theme. Also, for folks out there, there's an awesome YouTube video out there that it's like, if Led Zeppelin 2, the album Led Zeppelin 2, was made in the 1950s. Just Google that. Whole lot of love, of course, and just the Zeppelin theme there. It's really cool. I'm sure it's AI, and I don't care. It's like this. It's this fun little exploration of like ramble on and stuff like that, but done in like a 50s way. It's actually quite well done. Okay, so I mentioned Johnny Parmesan early. I know he's going to be watching this one. So John, this one's for you. The Love Boat. Give me that one. Guy. He'll know what that means. The rest of you just have to suffer.
Lots of tomfoolery, fun, and sneakiness takes place on the Love Boat. Clinton, what if our Seahawks can keep sailing into some fun this Sunday night? Seahawks, right? What sneaky advantages might we look to flex, particularly against the Packers?
Love this. Good job. No pun intended. I think the sneaky advantage is I'm listening to other Packers podcasts, and as I get ready for this, I'm talking to my boys about this, and I'm listening to 2 or 3 other different Packers podcasts, and they are all looking at Seattle as in like the whole, right? And being like, okay, they don't do this well, they don't do that well. I'm like, well, the last 4 weeks actually been really good at that. Or the last 2 weeks, this has really changed and you're not really paying full attention. I understand that. You're a Packers podcast. I get that. The advantage specifically that showed up last week is that the Arizona Cardinals like to play a lot of zone. Cool. The Green Bay Packers like to play a lot of zone. The Green Bay Packers do not have great linebackers. They have an okay DB room, not great. It's pretty good. Obviously, you got some stars there with McKinney and others, but their linebackers can be got, and they like to play zone. Geno Smith hit 30% last week with his attempts. 30% were on checkdowns. It was by far his most of the year. Oh, yeah. And the checkdowns were rapidly successful. And by the way, checkdowns are only successful when you can block, because checkdowns happen after you go read 1, read 2, read 3. Okay, they're covered. I'm going to check it down to AJ Barner, and he's going to truck a dude. Yeah. You can't get to check down number 4 if there's not good blocking. We're seeing better blocking. I see a very similar system defensively than what Arizona did. And I think that sneaky advantage is like, you want to give Geno easy yards at home? Okay. He's going to take them. And if he gets similar blocking, I expect similar success with a lot of stuff, 5-6 yards, easy money, turn up field, go get the most yak you could possibly get. In any football game, that's a sneaky advantage if you could just get free yards. And I think we're gonna.
And when we think about this opponent, they're probably just about as bad at pressuring the quarterback as the Cardinals. So that does line up pretty well. That tracks. Adam, sneaky advantage in this matchup on Sunday Night Football.
Well, it's kind of fun because you start looking at this game and you look at the national narrative around it in just where these two teams are at this point in the season. And I'm kind of surprised a little bit to see that even the national media has the Seahawks, Packers, Vikings, like kind of all in the same tier. They're talking about them in the same way as if, you know, they're all on the same level. And I do see these two teams as potentially being very closely matched.
Playoff matchup even, right? I mean,
exactly. Yeah. No, you hit it on the head there, Phil, right? Like, idea being that if the Seahawks do end up winning the division, then there's a pretty solid chance that you could be seeing Green Bay or Minnesota in the first round at home at Lumen Field. Since the teams are really close and you kind of look at, offense defense matchup, I think the sneaky difference is probably on special teams, and something I haven't heard anybody talking about. Even years, Jason Myers has been money. Like, he has been absolutely fantastic. And the Packers have been kind of struggling to get the kicking situation figured out. Got rid of Anders Carlson last year, brought in a new guy. I don't know if he got injured or cut or whatever happened to him, but now they're on to Bronco McKicker, Brandon McManus. He is in the house. He's been bouncing around the league. And I kind of feel like when kickers get to that spot to where they just kind of bounce around from team to team, they can be good for stretches, but at some point, the house of horrors that made their previous team get rid of them do crop up. So I like the idea of Jason Myers having another solid game, and that Bronco McKicker could go out there and struggle a little bit.
Good call. I'll take it. 3 points can make a big difference in a matchup like this. Which means sneaky advantage. The boat has sailed. Adam, where are we going next?
I think I'm going to go with what is? Question mark? What is love?
What is love? Adam, what if Grubb can have his guys succeed at one specific thing you'd love to see most against this kind of good, not great defense? Name a specific thing that you think he can and that we need to see in this matchup.
Ooh, that's a really good question. One, I would push back on the defense. I think that they're better than a lot of people.
That's not to say bad. They're just not terrifying.
Just middling.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think they're a little better than that. And,
hey, Adam, may I offer to everybody? Maybe it's better than Mesra. Is that something?
Oh, okay. There we go.
Brandon would like that, maybe.
I was told from Brandon the other day that he was done with puns. Like, he was mad at me for making a pun. Not mad, but he was like, he's like, those aren't funny anymore. So we're dragging down the show with our dad puns, Clinton. But in terms of Grubb and what this offense could do, I really think it's a boring answer, but it comes down to the guards really playing up to the level that they had last week. Okay. I mean, that's really going to be such a big crux to this thing getting going, because if the two guards can play well, because Tomlinson actually had a way better game last game than he's had pretty much all season. And it does feel like having Lucas and Lamea and Olu in there has really stabilized the right side, which is then kind of trickled down to Tomlinson. If they can play up to par in the run game and get either K9, who, Macdonald isn't ruling out, but it sounds like probably won't play, but get Sharps going again to where he's having like a 70-yard rushing day, even just effective. Doesn't need to be the amazing game he had last game. All of a sudden, I really like the Seahawks in this game, but I think that's what it's going to take.
We might need a close to amazing game. That Green Bay offense is pretty great, but I hope you're right. I hope a mediocre or fairly good, not mediocre, fairly good running game would be enough. Would definitely make it tight. Clinton, what do you think? Something specific Grubb can do that he has to do in this matchup. He has to get his guys to do.
Well, the Packers are getting healthy. So which is on defense too, right? So Bullard's going to probably miss. It's like almost for sure. So good nickel back, and he's in there and dime. Bullard's a good football player overall. And then Evan Williams, who's been playing good free safety, he's supposed to be back. They're looking, again, pretty healthy. And Xavier McKinney he's really good. What the Packers have been able to do, and what they kind of form, is that they're willing to give the underneath stuff. We kind of covered that earlier. Very much, it's almost like old school Pete Carroll ball, but they will not get beat over the top. Like, they will do everything to not get beat over the top. So if you're asking me, what's the one thing I would love to see, like what would be the biggest proof point? Boy, oh boy, how about like a 50-yard DK Metcalf touchdown where we do get over the top? And it's not a Atlanta Falcon thing where a guy, can't find his ass from his elbow. And he's on the carpet and Justin Jefferson's waltzing into the end zone. I mean, where we scheme them. That goes back to Grubb, where, to your point, Adam, we're opening them up because we're having successful runs. We're play actioning. We're getting things sucked down. Hey, Jair Alexander's going to be back. He's a heck of a football player. So what would I love to see? Man, I'd love to see DK dancing on a long touchdown, because I think if we get that, it'll prove Grubb is winning this chess match. it would just be like maybe even the cherry on top or the final stamp be like, wow, you guys got over the top. Nobody gets you that way. It'd be, for me, proof positive that Grubb really was in his bag. That's what I'd love to see.
My favorite thing to see and my most terrifying thing to see when the opponent does it is the running game's been going good. The quarterback puts it in, pulls it back, takes a couple steps, and just confidently rips it long. I'm so excited when I see my quarterback do it, and I'm so horrified when I see the other team do it. So if we can get a couple of those and not have to see Love do that, because we know he loves that, that'd be a good thing.
And one thing there too, Phil, we're all trained the way we are to watch football side to side, because that's how it's been presented to us since we've been kids. And now Prime Vision's doing the thing, where you could see it from the all 22, and that's really cool. And it's very, very, I love it.
Love it.
However, what you just described, when you don't know what's happening because it's off screen and it's your team, it's the best friggin' feeling. So yeah, let's see some of those uncorked because we soften things up. That'd be so awesome.
My dad would do a little squeal and a giggle. Oh, it's play action. And every time he'd see it.
Love it. We all know that feeling. It's a good one.
We are on to Clinton. 4 choices left with Love.
All right. I'm gonna stick with the entertainment factor and go with a little Love connection, and we'll be back in 2 and 2. Rest in power there, Chuck Woolery.
Yes, Chuck Woolery.
Heck yes.
Are there connections on offense that you see as advantageous for us in this matchup? You've talked about a few of them, but there's other types of connections, of course. It could be passer, receiver, it could be blocking, whatever. What if you share some of your thoughts on some connections that are advantageous for us against the Packers?
Okay, let me think a little bit about this. So offensively, without repeating some things.
Yeah.
So I think where I want to take this is it goes a little bit in line with some of the easy yards, and it goes in line with what you can get from zone defenses. And that is you can get Noah Fant open in space. And I think he had his best game last week as well. A couple of crucial first downs early. He had a really nice snag on a ball that was almost overthrown on that first drive. He caught the first down, on the little out on 3rd and 2, but he also worked the middle of the field a couple of times over, and he was good in the blocking game. So in general, just to matriculate this forward, if you're going to play zone on us and you're going to allow for some of the easy stuff to happen, Fant is much better against zone defense from his numbers. So from a connection standpoint, I wouldn't be shocked if Geno to Fant is not guessing on yards, because that could be difficult, but a little more volume going his way than normal, and picking on what is pickable from the Green Bay defense. So maybe a big day for Fant. I've guessed this for 2-3 years running, and I'm never really correct with this one. Adam's laughing because he knows I would bet Fant on the PNW Prop Stars a lot. But this game schemes up this way. So from a connection standpoint, just a nice volume game from Fant. And again, that could be hyper effective if those are easy, which I would like to see.
Well, Grubb's been picking at it a little bit. We almost had that touchdown and just, missed the week previous.
Yes.
And then this past week, he was starting to excel a little bit. So I think Grubb's finding out how to use Fant a little bit. Adam, what do you got? Some connections you'd love to see?
Well, just to pile on to what Clinton said, because the very first name that popped into my head when the question came up was Fant. And it wasn't so much in volume or big throws down the field. It was more, we had struggled in short yardage in many different games coming up to last week. And one of the things that you saw Grubb do is get to a spot to where he's running Fant out in the flat, maybe on a play action boot or something like that. And they were picking up, 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s with, I think twice with Fant in that game, and kind of using him as a replacement for being able to pick it up in the run game. So not just so much in volume. I think it's more in impactful plays, like 3rd down plays. That seems to be where Grubb was really bringing him to life and having his biggest impact on the game. But to give you a little different flavor, I think the other connection that we could maybe finally see would be a good Tyler game. We haven't had a good Tyler game for how long now? And it feels like he's not washed.
Speaking of rest in peace, right? No.
Yeah, exactly. Right. we haven't seen a lot from him. He had the one target last week, and it was a perfect touchdown pass from Geno. He couldn't quite haul in. But I feel like there's no way Tyler Lockett's washed. He doesn't look that way. So it's like one of these weeks, it's just going to be the Tyler Lockett show. I don't know that we're going to get one every 3 weeks as it cycles through the receivers. But if Tyler goes off because they're like, look, we got to pay attention to DK. Obviously, he's their number one. Number two, like JSN has been tearing people up because everybody's been really focused on DK. They're like, all right, we got to do what we can to get JSN under control. And Tyler hasn't done jack. That's fine. And he has a big day. So that's kind of what I'm looking for there.
Yeah, production to pay. Like last year, it was Draymond. We're paying this dude $1 million a game. Yeah. Tyler, we're paying like nearly $2 million a game, and we'd like to see some of that come back to help us succeed a little bit. And I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that connection get going. I think Geno wants it. It just quite hasn't been there.
I think too, he is the third or sometimes fourth read right now. We on 3 and 3 out, we looked at the DK play at the very end of the game. It was like 6 minutes to go where DK converts on a crucial 3rd and 2. Lockett's wide open, but he's the third read. It's like read 1 is DK, read 2 is JSN, read 3, and he's schemed wide open. It's a beautiful scheme. But he's going to be third or fourth option now with a little more protection. Maybe we do see a Lockett game, Adam, because whatever, they do have some skilled guys back there. So maybe Lockett bust one. That would be, if he's over the top and it's not DK, freaking awesome. Wonderful. Love it.
Yeah. If he'd have caught that one last week, what a slaughter. And what a great stat line Geno would have had with that one catch that didn't happen.
That was
Adam, we have 3 choices left, and I think we're going to start focusing on the Packers offense with these, if memory serves. Where do you want to go?
Very good. Well, I love drama, and there's no more drama that you can get in life than a love triangle. Give me the triangle, Phil.
Love triangle is where Adam has chosen to go. What if, Adam, the Hawks can minimize 2 of Jordan's targets? Because we think about Love and his triangle. Who would you hope to contain and why when you think about Mr. Jordan Love's targets?
Yeah, if I'm going to think about it in the way that Coach Mike would think about it, I think he's one of those guys, much like all the league, where they're like, look, just don't give up the explosives. If you're going to give up completions, give them up short and underneath. Let's rally to the football, make a good tackle, take good angles, and keep the damage to a minimum. Make them earn their way down the field. In my opinion, their number one deep threat is Christian Watson. Yeah. If his hands are suspect, man. I've just seen him drop too many balls to be like completely terrified of the guy, but he does have speed. He does get open, and it's not like he drops everything. So like he catches some big plays downfield. If you could minimize that, I think that'd be a huge deal. And then the other one is I mean, Dobbs is fine. Wicks is fine. Reed is fine. But against Witherspoon and company, I don't really worry about them. Who I do worry about is Tucker Kraft. Take away that safety blanket of the big tight end over the middle, and you take care of those 2 guys. Try to keep Josh Jacobs to just kind of like starting to mess up the game, not like wrecking the game. And I think you've got a good shot.
Yeah, keep it uncheesy with Mr. Kraft. He's a little different than McBride, right? Kraft's a little different than McBride in that he's not just helping him get down the field and yards after catch. He kind of makes some of those big chain moving and occasional red zone plays, right? Am I wrong about that, Clinton?
Yeah, I know. Kraft actually scores touchdowns that are meaningful and doesn't just live between the 20s, right? So like Trey McBride does, right? So that's sometimes you play Family Feud and you're like, oh man, the top 2 answers are off the board. Well, that's Adam just went 2 for 2 with me. I will with Tucker Kraft. He is different. I mean, McBride's a nice tight end. I'm just joshing with that. However, Tucker Kraft is loved in the red zone. He's a complete tight end. You want to bring him in line? Cool. Play action, get under center. Yeah, he's real good. You want him in the slot? He's pretty fast. And the thing with Kraft also, the guy's a yak monster. He's with the ball in his hands. He gets a head of steam going. He is hard to bring down, and he runs hard. When I was talking to my boys about it, they're like, yeah, they refer to him. Remember, was it Jason Kuhn, Kuhn, was Jason the first name? The old Packer guy?
Kuhn, yeah.
Kuhn, right? Yeah.
It wasn't. It was John Kuhn.
John Kuhn, yeah.
Kuhn, yep.
Kuhn, right? They're like, yeah, he's basically him with the ball in his hands. He just gets it and he just goes. He goes forward very, very quick. So I'm also worried about Kraft in the sense that just I think even a more complete tight end potentially. I know McBride's got great numbers, but the guy gets in the end zone. So that's number one. And guys, how do we not talk about Bo Melton? Of course, we got to talk about, but I'm just joking. Bo's fine. Bo's fine as a 5. I do worry about Christian Watson as well, but I think Romeo Dobbs getting back and getting healthy. I think it was concussion protocol, kept him out a week. He's back. I look at him as more of the more sure hands guy and the more the whoopee, the blanket, the go-to for Jordan Love. He needs something. Romeo Dobbs is I'm not going to put him on the pedestal of a Doug Baldwin. He's got to do a lot more in his career to get there, but he's reliable and he's crafty and he gets open and he has good hands. In the past, guys like that could work against our scheme have burnt us. Different year, completely different era. We'll see how we handle it. But, Romeo's a pretty good wide receiver. They've got this smattering of dudes that there might not be an absolute alpha sitting there potentially, or like pro bowlers maybe. But as a conglomerate, it's a pretty good group of receivers and weapons. So it's going to be interesting, man. And Jordan Love, he will take his chances. He will fire the ball into some tight windows, which I'm actually pretty excited for.
He's crafty. He gets around. Yeah, Jordan Love has a lot of picks, right? He has quite a few picks, and I kind of like our matchups against these targets. I do. I feel like we can focus on the run and let our guys do a lot of one-on-one, and I'm not scared. And
yeah, he has 11 picks on the year to answer it, Phil. And so Geno has a few more, but he hasn't thrown a pick in 3 games. But the first 8 games of the year, I think he had a pick every week. So, I mean, hey, look, just coming back to variance, right? Hey,
he and Geno are both improving on that front, and
yeah,
they're both scoring, but they're scoring like crazy, like 30 points plus the last 3 games. But I'm still more worried about. I'm much more worried about Jacobs than I am about Love, even though Love's great. 2 choices: all you need or Hurts, Clinton.
Well, I'm not a huge fan of Jalen Hurts. I like the song, but I will go with "All You Need Is Love." Let's pay homage to the Beatles. Let's go.
Okay, Clinton. What if there's one thing the Hawks need to do in the run game to somehow earn the advantage? All you need is what? This is what you need against this great running team, Clinton.
Yeah, the Packers are very stout against the run. So the answer might be as simple as conviction.
Okay, I like that word.
Conviction. That if look, we mentioned it earlier, the Packers get down early, they don't lose faith in their run game. They use the run game to get back in the game and almost take it from Detroit. They've done it before. We have gotten we get thrown off scripts. We have a bad start to our game. We're down 7-0 or we're, whatever it might be. And we lose the will to run the football, or we have to date, right? Lost the will to run the football. I don't think that's a recipe for success against this team. And also for how you play winning football in December and then into January. I know Adam will agree with those macro points, but to me, yes, there's technical things we probably should go do, the duos, the tackle and guard pull runs we're running. Cool, all good. We need to be committed and have conviction that the run game will get us to the promised land. It will open things up, including play action. So let's be committed.
And I left this 2-sided, Adam, to where it's in the run game. I could be talking about stopping their great run game. I thought someone might go there. But how can we can we actually get the advantage against the Packers in the run game, or can we at least get it even? What do you think?
I'm glad you clarified this is a swinger question, because when I first read it, I was thinking how we stopped the run, and then Clinton was talking about our run game. So I was like, oh no, I better come up with something different. But so this is great. This is great. One thing with the question, the Beatles clearly weren't survivalists with all you need is love. You need a heck of a lot more than love. You need a lot of different things. So one of the things that the Seahawks are going to need to survive stopping Josh Jacobs is they really need Mafe and Hall to have a huge game on the edge and set the edge and keep funneling Josh Jacobs into the middle of a very talented defensive line with Ernest Jones and Tyrese Knight playing out of their minds and filling gaps really well. If they can set the edge and be physical there, then all of a sudden, I think it becomes it's almost like taking the run game and making it itself one-dimensional. And I think that would be a huge deal for them.
Yeah.
They
are so successful. Go ahead.
Yeah, Phil, I want to ask you about that too, just to bring you in as well. Like, I think that's a bit of what strength on strength. Like, if we're successful on the outside, the Packers don't want to run to the outside often. They like to run between the tackles. So, remember the movie 300, they bring them to the narrow passage so they could really mitigate the numbers the other side had so they could battle in close quarters. Nice tactic. What do you think, though? Is that's kind of where the Packers want to be. So what's going to give?
I mean, recently we've been fantastic at defending early down runs, which they're awesome at. We've been good at that. They love to run in the middle, and we've been really good EPA wise for stopping runs up the middle. I mean, it's going to be absolute metal on metal. Find out a lot of what determines who's going to win is who succeeds in this particular area, because the Packers aren't giving up on it. We're not going to scare them away like the Cardinals, like the Dolphins, who, even though they could see they were having some success, they got a little bit behind and just abandoned it. And you've been hitting that the whole podcast, Clinton. They're going to keep doing it. So we're not going to terrify them from running.
One matchup, a little micro matchup to watch out for. Their left guard is rather good. Elgton Jenkins, an interesting name. He's drafted in 2019 from a second rounder from Mississippi State, and he's just a workhorse. He mucks and mucks and mucks as a guard. So whether that's Reed, whether that's Murphy, whoever's going to be kind of one gap, three gap assigned there, that's going to be cool to watch. So maybe a little something to watch is that battle at left guard, because that they want to run the ball right there. This is a battle, man. These are two teams. I'm excited for this game. This is going to be one heck of a match.
And Adams talked about our edge guys. We also have Nwosu. So Nwosu getting back to full health. We have great edge players. Draymond sometimes goes over there. So I love having an awesome rotation again. I mean, it's been since the Super Bowl team that we've had.
Yeah.
I really, really like it. Final one is Hurts. Love Hurts, Roy Orbison's song. So many people have covered this song. But Adam, what if the Hawks can make love hurt? Not turn into Jalen Hurts, but what if we can make love hurt with some early quarterback hits? How are they going to pull that off with this pretty good O-line? Some plans to hurt him, Adam?
Yeah, it would be hard to turn Jordan Love into Jalen Hurts, because you'd have to turn him into a running back. But with that said, you can get Jordan Love rattled a little bit, and especially if you can get out about a score and get the run game under control. He does have a tendency late in games to push and try to take some risks that maybe he shouldn't. They can get him up above that 25-30 passing attempts. All of a sudden, like, mistakes can come from Jordan Love. So how do they do that? And so, number one, we've talked about it ad nauseum throughout the pod about stopping the run. Once you get that done, then you do have to get the pressure in. You wonder, okay, so how do they get pressure? Which guy is going to step up and all of that stuff? It's all of the above. Like, this team is not playing a form of defense that's like, I mean, Leo's playing out of his mind, but it's not like this guy is their defense, like watching the Cardinals and being like, looking at Budda Baker and being like, their whole defense is Budda Baker. This defense is playing 11-man strong across the entire board. And it's been a total collection of effort from all of the guys. So to get pressure, it's not going to be just any one dude, but it's going to come down to Mike Macdonald's schemes and the stunts that they've been running. And if you want to try to pin it on one dude, I want to see even more from Byron Murphy in terms of his pass rush and things like that. Not because he's been doing poorly, but because it's really starting to come on. And it feels like we're just like, this far away from that breakout game from Byron Murphy in terms of the pass rush. He just looks quicker. He's playing faster and getting around blocks in a hurry and soaking up double teams. He's been really good. And I think he can take another step even a little bit further.
Love it. Clinton, how do you hope or expect for us to make Love hurt?
Adam gave a sensational answer, and the foundation of how it's possible, first and foremost, with stopping the run and getting into third and longs, getting into obvious passing downs, critical versus a team that's very good on first down. So has to happen. The pieces of Macdonald who can now, where he's been multiple guys. I looked at the rewatch from last week. We're up 2 scores against the fledgling Arizona Cardinals. We're up 12 points. They're trying to drive. We're doing a goal line stand, and we're playing like this is the end of the Super Bowl. And the very last play of the game, we're kind of letting them, get downfield, just to bend but don't break, letting them have a little bit of just eat time. That's totally fine. You're not going to win this game. And then when Macdonald had to dial up the blitz, he dials up. He's got Spoon coming off the edge, and Spoon blows that play up, and then Jenkins comes in and gets that gets the sack, I think, or whatever it was to just disrupt the end of the game. Who cares?
You're right.
With that, I look at 2 players specifically. I look at Spoon as being like, hey, like last year he got home a couple of times. This year he's been wildly disruptive with just not getting home with the sack. And that's that little bit of a delta there is like, can he just get home once? But also Ernest Jones. Ernest Jones is a good, and I won't say blitzer because blitzer is not accurate. He's a good rusher when he's the 4th dude, because all that means is somebody else is, not rushing who you thought was going to rush. An edge guy is now going back to play de facto linebacker for the snap. Those 2 dudes, they have a knack for it. They fight through contact. They understand how to move. I think of all our defenders, Spoon and EJ understand how to move through space the best, and they know where things are flowing to the best. That is a way, and Love he's wily back there, man. He's not going to go down without a fight, and he will get out of lots of stuff. With that, though, he gets around, right? So those are my 2 dudes, and I would not be shocked if one of those 2 either end up with like a batted pass down or 2 where Love just can't get it off, or tries to and gets a smack back in his face, or those guys are in some sort of a combination for a sack on Love. That's how I'd try to make it happen.
Our advantage is almost a necessity with Love in that we need it to happen with multiple dudes. He's going to avoid the one guy most of the time. He's really slick at sidestepping the one guy, as is Geno, right? The one guy coming often doesn't get him. But if you can get him with multiple dudes, then we can start causing him some pain. And we need to see that Love take some hurt. Well, that's all the questions. We're going to get into your wishes. Last week we had a record of wishes from the flock. This week we had a few. We're going to read from the Discord, those that are involved in it. How do people get in our Discord again, Adam? I'm trying to remember.
Well, you can go to getintheflock.com. You can sign up on our Patreon page for $3 a month, and you get into the Discord. And the Discord's freaking amazing on game day. It's really where you want to go if you want to virtually hang out with some of the other coolest 12s that you could ever come by. That's certainly not me and Brandon. That's really is all of the little flockers that are in there. It is amazing. So getintheflock.com.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as we said earlier, we're charging at 5,000 subs, but as Brandon said last night with you, Adam, on the live flagship, we want to get to 500 folks in the Discord too. There's a lot of folks there, but hey, value for value. We think we put out some really fun and engaging shows. $3 a month gets you in there. If you have more and you're comfortable with it, heck, it literally goes back into making these things as good as they possibly could be. So, all right, Mr. Phil, what is our wishing well looking like this week?
It's fun all week in the Discord, and we have all these different channels. We want to share the love with Rising Hakra, his wish. Dear Santa, all I want is for the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl. Thank you. P.S. I promise I will be good, and people have hearted that one. Carly, her wish, K9 plays. So she's always wishing for K9. And with that, run blocking finally gets the elusive 100 year. I think maybe yard rushing game we've wanted. So since the Broncos, he's not had one. Maybe if he can play with this run blocking, he could get one. Amy designed Pete's Beach House. Her wish, JSN hits his 1,000-yard year this week. And if he gets 70, he'll be the first Hawk to do it in this many games in a row, ever. Even larger. So JSN's got a lot of records he's looking for. Josh DeHuman wish Geno throws 2+ touchdowns. That would be fine. 12-man records, 7+ point win. So win by a touchdown, extra point, and more. Gamer Hawk, a love to love. Hey, anticipating the show here. A love to love interception. Any extra thoughts on any of these, Adam, from our wishes?
Yeah, I was just curious. How many cookies do you think you have to leave out for Santa to get a Super Bowl? Like, is it like just a plate full or like 3 dozen? And what kind of cookies? Like, what do you have to do to bribe Santa to get a Super Bowl? Because I'm in. I'll start baking now, and I can't bake at all.
We'll get everybody.
Sounds like a great question that we should ask for comments, right? If you were to bribe Santa for a Super Bowl dub, what cookie would you bake? What's maybe your best cookie that Santa would put that in the comments? Let us know about that. And
I think it's got to be white chocolate macadamia nut. I think it's a little rich. It's good. It's not like on the nose like Snickerdoodle or something like that. I don't know.
Those
my girls made these sugar cookies, and they have peppermint crumbles with peppermint cream in between, and they're like sandwiches of wonderful pepperminty sugar cookie goodness. I can't stop eating those.
That sounds like a scooter. That's great. It's a scooter pie. It's a little scooter pie with some peppermint. That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, set those out. I think we win a Super Bowl. That sounds like a Super Bowl winning cookie. Yeah,
I'll get my girls to make him as many 12s of dozens that he would like.
There we go.
And then let's hear your wishes. Let's hear your wishes, Clinton.
For sure. I do want to just say in the wish bucket there too, the numbers, because I love sharing those. We said JSN to get to 1,000. He's at 911, so he needs 89. And you mentioned his streak. If he does it again at 70 or over, that'll be 6 weeks in a row. Just wanted to give that to the audience so they're not wondering what those numerics are. And you know my love for the numbers, man.
What an incredible draft. You get Spoon, you get JSN, 2 massive difference makers on both sides of the ball. Brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. Yes. Clinton, go ahead.
Okay, so my what if Superhawk. Do you guys know who just turned 24 years old today? We're recording on Thursday. Who turned 24 years old yesterday?
Spoon?
Not your mom.
Not my mom. No, not my mom. It's very funny. No, it was the first one's more accurate because it is correct. So it is Devin Witherspoon, 24 years old. So the thing that the national media, I think, is ignoring is how good he's playing this year. It's not making now South Canada, and he doesn't have the sacks or the pick 6 like he did against the Giants last year. So it's a little bit less of the splashy plays, but man, oh man, if you go watch some film or just watch the games, Spoon is everywhere. Now let's get him a glory stat in this game. Let's get something awesome. So I'm going to go with just a timely interception by Devin Witherspoon to put one on Jordan Love, and a little birthday gift for the 24-year-old who is playing at an all-pro level. That's my pick.
He's awesome to watch every single game.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. He's the guy you go watch. Used to go watch Earl, and now that he's gone, now we finally have somebody on defense just to go watch cover the field like nobody else. What a ball sense. He's the guy you want on any kind of sports team. He knows where the ball's going to be, and he's going to somehow turbo button get there. Love it. Adam, your what if Superhawk for this game?
To pile on the Spoon love for half a second and just like the craziness that is his game. When he goes out and makes Kyler Murray throw that interception in the first Cards matchup, everybody's talking about how fast he got back out there. But if you slow it down and you watch it, he's like running towards Kyler. And as it looks like he's going to try to break the pocket, he doesn't just stop and change direction and go back, which would be an amazing football play. He literally turns his back to Kyler and spins around and then goes out and goes and gets him. Like that's just, you can't teach that. Like, there's no teaching that. And it's so hit the turbo button, hit the spin button. It doesn't matter. He's amazing. For me, the what if Superhawk this week, it kind of goes back to Josh DeHuman's wish there. Geno throwing 2 picks. Geno throwing or 2 interceptions. Gosh, I can't talk. 2 touchdowns.
Yes.
2 touchdowns and no interceptions. And the no interceptions part was what was on my brain. That's why I couldn't spit out 2 touchdowns. But if he can have that sort of game, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, be around 68% completion rate, this game is one that the Seahawks probably win at that point. We haven't had a really good Geno game for a while. Like last week was nice. That was a nice game. I'm looking for that like really, really good game that if you're one of the Geno homers like me, you point at everybody else and you're like, this is one of his best games. You got to pay him. Look, he's the best. Because I'm too skewed probably that way a little bit. I really think that we're due for it. We haven't seen one of those for a while, and the pass protection has gotten better. And I like our receivers against a secondary that, yes, they're getting a lot of guys back, but it's going to be all their first games back, and they're going to be a little rusty.
And Adam, he had it last game if one of the Geno haters didn't go butter Tyler's gloves.
That's right.
He had it.
That's
so
right.
Let's get it this game. We're going to, and somebody needs to keep a lookout for the Geno hater in the stadium that's out buttering Tyler's gloves, and we're good. That's all.
That's right.
Take. Okay. So there's your What If Superhawks. Sorry to say, Brandon's not even here to celebrate his season victory. Now, Clinton has one chance, and that's if we not only go on a streak to win the rest, he goes on a streak to win the rest of the games, but the Hawks go on a streak in the postseason, and we work our way to the NFC Championship. That's your hope, Clinton. So I will not send out the victory gift quite yet, because we're all hoping for your success and Seahawks success. Last week, the reason Brandon won was not because of his wish. It was because of his score. He had faith that we'd win by a bigger margin. Clinton, what is your prediction on the score in this matchup?
All right. Never tell me the odds, right? I am going 26-24 Seahawks. I think we win this one. I think it is close. I respect the Packers. I think they are a good to very good football team. I think the streak continues. We're going to the quad. Everybody's doing it. 5 in a row, 26-24, Seattle Seahawks.
And this is what we talked about on What If like 3 weeks ago. Going into the first Cards game, I think we all said, we've got to win these 3 games. And then it's all interesting. Now, that seemed like a big hope, but possible. Like, beat the Cards twice. We were kind of off of 1 win. We're going to have to beat the Cards twice, and we can't give away a game like the Jets. We did it all. So now it's all here. What's going to happen in this final stretch? Adam, what's your prediction for this matchup against the Pack?
Well, it's really fun to see that Brandon's already wrapped up the season, it sounds like. So that's pretty cool. So no pressure on me. But don't worry, Clinton. It's okay, because your professional modeling career, look at that picture. Like you have that to fall back on. It's just, God, that's dead sexy, buddy. We're going to have to up Brandon's picture game here just a little bit, but I'm actually in the same mindset as Clinton. If I'm thinking through a Brandon lens, I had 28-24 in my mind here. In 1 turnover from the Packers, a clean game from Geno Smith, and I think he gets to 28-24 pretty easily.
Yeah, turnover may be the difference. All right, gentlemen, that's it. We have all our questions. We have all our wishes. We have our predictions. Any final thoughts about this game before we head out for the day?
You know, I'm nervous about this game, and I'm also extremely excited because it really is that measuring stick game. And I know a lot of people have talked about it, but as we've kind of watched this metamorphosis of this team go from a rolling dumpster fire to like, oh my gosh, these guys might be able to win a playoff game.
Yeah.
I want to see it. I want to see it against one of these teams so that I have a sense of like where we match up. Even if the Hawks, let's say, heaven forbid, it's like 30-28 and they lose. And it's just hard fought and they're right there and all that. Packers have only lost to good teams.
Yeah. Both teams are looking for their signature win in this matchup, Adam. Both teams are looking for a win against a really good team. So
good point.
Huge.
I think it's a big deal, and it would take me from being like, hey, I've enjoyed this little run. I like all the progress I'm seeing on both sides of the ball. Looking forward to next year. It would take me from there to this is really fun. I love the progress on both sides of the ball, and I can't wait for the next playoff game. Like, that's what I'd be thinking.
And we might be able to beat anyone if we can show that against these next couple of opponents. Any other thoughts, Clinton, before we get out of here?
Just very quickly, December football, that matters.
Yeah.
Right? This is it. Two good teams Sunday night. Great franchises. This is it. This is why we're fans. This is the one to get geeked out about and hang out together with people that you freaking love, right? So this is why we do this thing. So we'll be in the Discord. We'll be hanging out before the game, during the game, after the game with the post-game show. This is going to be a lot of fun, and that's what it's supposed to be. I'm fired up for it, Phil.
Our guy Collinsworth is going to slide in. We're going to enjoy a fantastic game. And with that, gentlemen, what if we say, Adam?
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. Beat the cheesy love side.
And go Hawks. All right, this is What If.
And I'll do it like this.